Well, congratulations on completing lesson one of week one. Here in lesson two of week one, we take up the consideration of 20 logical distinctions for critical thinkers and writers. Now, what exactly are these logical distinctions for critical thinkers and writers? And why are they here in this course? I remember my first day in high school debating, and the teacher, Jim Johnson, came in and he asked us the question, first day in class, and he said, "What's the necessary condition for winning any debate?" And of course, we all fumbled around. We tried to give the best answer we could. Somebody said, "Oh, the best research, oh, the best data, oh, the best studies that have been done," so forth and so on. Anyway, none of us had the right answer. He said, "No." He said, "The person who gets their opponent in any debate to accept their definitions of terms will always win the debate." And you know what? He turned out to be right. That was a long time ago, in 1955, 1960. So I've put together these 20 distinctions in order to prepare your mind to think categorically. We make distinctions all the time. We distinguish between birds and frogs, Democrats and Republicans, animals and vegetables. We make distinctions. That's how we sort things out. We use words that have a definite meaning, an objective meaning to the words. The debates that we engage in usually arise over a discrepancy or a disagreement on the definitions of words. That's how most arguments, formal or informal, actually begin. And they are settled in the process of debating by means of getting some agreement. What are the necessary and sufficient conditions for being a mammal or being an animal in general? Why are they not the same thing? Well, let's take a look. Let me share the screen for you now, and just take a look at some of the distinctions, not all of them, but I want to explain how these are important to prepare your mind to understand the conditions, why we put things into one category and not in another category. So let's pause now and I'll share the screen. Okay, as we can see, the very first one, logic is not the same thing as rhetoric. Logic is the process of arriving at conclusions from stated premises according to principles of validity. That's what we're studying here. Rhetoric merely is persuading people by any means possible. Images, insults, even a gun to the head. Give me all your money. That's being persuasive. That's a form of rhetoric, but it's not the same as logic. Now, people use these two words interchangeably, and they're not the same thing. A fallacy is not just an error, it's an error specific to the process of reasoning. Right? If you can't add up your and balance your checkbook, well, that's an error. But a fallacy is a break in the process of reasoning so that the premises can never lead you validly to that conclusion. Not all beliefs are knowable. We cannot know some things that we believe in. Some people believe in extraterrestrial life. We haven't been able to prove that as a matter of knowledge, but they still believe it. Some people believe in horoscopes as being able to define their personality and define how they're going to be doing that particular day that they read the horoscope. So beliefs and knowledge, not the same thing. So we have to sort out, what are our beliefs? What do we say we know? One of the things I recommend in this course is that you in your notebook, that you draw a line down the middle of the page, and on the one column you put things I believe. On the next column, you believe things I know. And just try to do three things. Just try to do three of those things. And you will see immediately why you need to distinguish between knowledge and belief. It's very critical. Assumptions and presumptions. Let's just take that one for starters. If I assume that I am your dear bosom pal, and because I'm your dear bosom pal, I don't think I need to text you or call you to tell you that I'm going to drop by with a freshly baked cornbread. I'm not even going to knock on the door. I'm going to presume that I have a special relationship with you based upon my assumption. So an assumption is something we use for a presumption. To presume is to take an assumption and apply it. And this is what I want you to do with all of these 20 distinctions. Go through each one of them in your notebook and try to give examples of how you would distinguish between deductivity and inductivity. We have whole lessons on that. How do you discern and sort out an implication from an inference? I use a very simple sentence. I imply, you infer. It's very simple. What's the distinction between validity and soundness in an argument? Oh, that's the most important distinction you're going to learn in this class. If you learn nothing else, please pay attention to the distinction between arguments that are valid as opposed to arguments that are sound. There's a big difference. Not every valid argument is a sound argument. I'll repeat that. Not every valid argument is a sound argument, but every sound argument is a valid argument. And we'll see why that is the case in this course. Necessary and sufficient conditions. There it is, right there. A necessary condition for something to be the case is the set of attributes or reasons or characteristics that are essential, that are required, absolutely required. You cannot have fire, for instance, without fuel, without oxygen, and without a point of ignition. Now, a Bic cigarette lighter, if you click the Bic, you've got fire. But a Bic lighter is not a necessary condition for a fire. That's the distinction. Subjective and objective. Some people don't even believe in anything that's objective anymore. Not all causes are the same thing as effects. That seems pretty obvious, but you'll be surprised how that one's going to work out when we get to empiricism. Analytic and synthetic. These are distinctions that are based upon a priori knowledge and a posteriori knowledge. And the big one, the big debatable topic of the day is the distinction between ethical principles and moral codes. Are ethical principles objective or subjective? Are moral codes negotiable? Can we bend moral codes depending upon certain circumstances? All of these things are extremely important. And unless we are clear about the definitions of these terms and what they mean, we are not going to be able to produce valid and sound arguments. And that is the purpose of taking this class. You're doing very well. Let's continue.